Hi, it's Fredette, and welcome back to another Mom Chat Mondays. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about traveling with your kids. We recently flew back to my husband's motherland of Canada, and we took our 17-month-old son with us. This isn't the first time he's flown with us, but it's the first time in almost exactly a year that he flew with us. So things were a little bit different than they were the first time we flew when he was younger. So on this episode of Mom Chat Mondays, I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks I've learned over both experiences when he was younger and now. Before we get started, go ahead and thumbs up this video and subscribe to this channel so you're always up to date on new videos that get posted. And speaking of that, I've missed a few Mondays over the past month, and if you're a mom, you know that sometimes unexpected things happen. So I apologize for the inconsistency, and moving forward, I'm going to be doing every first and third Monday of the month. So that will help me stay consistent. Whew. This YouTube 9-to-5 mom life is crazy sometimes. I love it. Hopefully by the end of the year, things will change for the better. Fingers crossed. So thank you for sticking with me through the little growing pains that this channel is having, but I promise to be better. Also this week, make sure you're on the lookout for our Canada vlog that covers our trip to Canada and a little bit of this travel experience. On the last episode of Mom Chat Mondays, I talked about traveling without your kids. So this is kind of a part 2 to that video. If you haven't seen that yet, go ahead and watch after this one, of course. I'll link it up here and in the description box below. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first and foremost, you need to get to the airport early, okay? Brody and I used to travel recklessly, okay? We used to get to the airport probably an hour before boarding for local flights, and maybe an hour and a half before flights to Canada. It was a little crazy. It was very reckless. We never used to travel with checked bags. It would always be carry-on only, so we didn't have to go through the rigmarole of check-in and all that stuff. It was easy just to get in and get out. Hopefully there was no issues with traffic getting to the airport, and there wasn't long lines at the airport. So it was risky, but it worked for us. We can't do that anymore. We got to the parking station about 3 hours ahead of our flight, and luckily we did, because it took a while for the garage shuttle to get us to the airport. And I was just chilling. I was not stressed because I knew we had ample time. You already have a lot going on. You need to add the stress of time to your situation. So just give yourself as much time as possible. The earlier, the better. But with getting to the airport early comes many other factors when you're working with kids, such as you need to make sure you have enough snacks. When I tell you, you can never have enough food and snacks. I packed a whole bunch of snacks for Declan, including a full lunch, and I put it in his little new lunchbox that I got on Amazon Prime Day. I'm gonna link it below. It was so cute because airlines are cheap now. They don't serve you food. They have that food that you have to buy, and it tastes nasty. Kids won't like that. Adults barely like that. So I packed him his own lunch of broccoli, meatballs, and some grapes, his staple favorites. They were easy to hold, easy to pick up, not too much mess, no sauce, no anything like that. And I packed him a whole rack of snacks, pouches, teething crackers, all that jazz. His lunch, he nibbled at a little bit, but he really ate a lot of his snacks. So with that, I say, when you think that you've packed too many snacks or you've packed just enough snacks, pack even more, because it's crazy how quickly they go through snacks. I ran out of snacks. How many times am I going to say snacks? I ran out of snacks, and I ran into almost panic mode. Luckily, I had more in his checked baggage, so by the time when we landed, the first thing I did when we got our bags is open that up and unload the snacks, because on the plane I was like, oh my gosh, there's nothing left. So I implore you to pack even more than you think you're going to need, because you also don't know if there's going to be delays, especially traveling now. There's always a delay, so you don't know if you're going to be stuck somewhere. So just pack more than you need. And also with that is make sure you bring ample entertainment. The airport is a pretty entertaining place as it is, so while you're in the airport you might not need that much entertainment, but when you get on the flight, entertainment comes in handy. So I brought Declan a bunch of his favorite books, some of his Love Every toys that weren't too cumbersome to carry around, his iPad, of course, because Barney, duh. And to go with his iPad, I got one of these toddler headphones from Amazon that one of my mom friends recommended on her Instagram. It's created for kids in the sense that it won't bust out their eardrums, and I thought it would be perfect for the airplane. Mind you, Declan didn't really like them. Declan just ended up listening to the iPad without the headphones in. Nobody seemed to care. It wasn't really that loud. I think he was just looking at the pictures, which was entertaining enough. So that worked too, but in case the headphones work for you, they'll be linked down below. So yeah, distraction is the name of the game here. Keep them as entertained, as well fed as possible, so the time just rolls by without a hitch. The next tip is, depending on your child's age, fly during nap time or during happy time. So when Declan was 6 months old, we flew back to Maryland, which is about the same length of flight as it is flying to Toronto. It's about 4.5 hours for about 4 to 5 hours. So when he was 6 months old, we took the red eye and he slept the whole time. Mind you, I was so uncomfortable because I was also tired, but he was sleeping on me and he slept the whole time. So that worked for him. Now, this time around, he's 17 months, we flew at his happy time. So like middle of the day, when we were driving to the airport was when he napped. And then when we got to the airport, he was wide awake, he was happy, he was engaged, he was trying to like soak in his new environment. So when we got on the plane, he was like, wow, this is so cool. He wasn't cranky. And that's why what I avoided this time is because he's a very bougie sleeper in the sense that he likes his bed, he likes his area. Sleeping in my arms isn't the most comfortable thing anymore for a long period of time like it was when he was younger and smaller. So I wanted him to be awake and alert and happy and not tired, groggy, and cranky. So that would not be fun for anyone, including the other passengers on the plane. So just take that into consideration when you're booking your flight, and it may not always be the best choice to take a red eye or to fly during their sleep time. The next piece of advice is early boarding. Now, I can't claim this piece of advice as my own. I kind of saw it on the Twitter streets and it was like a light bulb moment. I was like, why didn't I think of this? So maybe you haven't thought of it either. So here I am bringing it to you. I'm just a messenger. So with early boarding, we jumped at the opportunity because we're like, yes, we get to beat everyone on the plane. That's not always necessarily the best approach. If you're traveling with your husband, wife, partner, whoever, if you're traveling with someone, have that person go on the plane first during early boarding, like the children time boarding, and bring your stroller, your bags, all that big stuff. Have them go in, get everything set up. In the meantime, you, with your child, walk around the airport, around the terminal, and just like tire them out a little bit so they're not waiting on the plane for an extended period of time that they don't have to be on the plane. For us though, kind of piggybacking off what I said before, being tired isn't necessarily always the best approach to take. We boarded during family boarding, and so we got on the plane like one of the first people. Declan was just people watching. He like loved to see people loading and unloading their bags from the overhead compartments. So by the time we took off, he wasn't phased. He was just excited to see the plane take off. So it really depends on your child, and it depends on like their age, their mood, etc., etc. The next tip is, if you can afford to, buy a seat, okay? Honestly, it is so expensive to fly these days. I don't know what is going on with these airlines and inflation, of course, but we were not trying to buy another seat. We're trying to milk this under 2 flights free for as long as possible, but our son is quite big for his age, so we might not make it to 2 before we have to buy a seat. But if you can afford to, buy that extra seat, because when we were going, Declan sat on my lap and it was great. He was watching his shows, he was looking out the window, it was fine. But on the way back, we got lucky and we were in a row where we had an empty seat, so he got to sit in his own chair. And when I tell you, it made the world of difference. We were all comfortable. Declan had his iPad up, he had his snacks in his bag, his dad was sleeping as usual. I was comfortable. It was such a smooth flight. Birdie even woke up at the end and was like, wow, this flight went by so quickly. It was so drama-free. So I would recommend you buy that extra seat. Even though Declan is big for his age, when we put him in the seat, when I put a seatbelt on, it was still too big for him. So it's not necessarily the safest route. If you do buy that extra seat, I would recommend bringing a car seat in the plane to put them in. But we already had a car seat waiting for us in our destination. Brody's parents bought a car seat for Declan. So to bring a car seat wasn't really an option. We would have 2 there. It would just be cumbersome and just too much stuff to hold. So that wasn't an option for us this time, so it was just better for him to be a lap child. When we fly again for Thanksgiving later on in the year, we might consider just buying him a seat, but we'll see what those prices are looking like because
Yikes.
Speaking of car seat and free hands, we decided to bring our stroller with us this time. This is the first time we brought our stroller. We ended up gate checking it. We didn't check it in the beginning so we could stroll Declan around in the airport. It was easier for us. The first time we traveled when he was 6 months old, we didn't bring our stroller. I just carried him in my carrier thingamajig, and he was much lighter then. Now he's about almost 30 pounds. So just for the sake of my back, we decided to bring the stroller, and because we knew we were going to be exploring downtown Toronto, visiting a lot of places, so we knew it would come in handy to bring the stroller on our trip. We didn't want his parents to have to go out and buy a stroller situation, so we just brought that with us, and it was very convenient through the airport. The only thing I will say is going through security here, LAX side, it was just like they made you take the stroller apart and then like walk through with your child, whereas coming back from in the Toronto Pearson airport, they let you push the stroller through as long as there's nothing in the cart. So that's like so much easier. Like I don't know why they make you take the stroller apart. Like you can literally see through it. Like it's just, anyway, that was annoying, but it was nice to be able just to like load the bottom of the stroller with like my bag, the diaper bags, all that stuff, and then just push them through. Not have to worry about the weight. And if you wanted to get out and walk, it was easy just to unstrap them and let him walk. And then of course you can gate check your stroller as you enter the plane, so then when you get out of the plane, it's right there waiting for you. When we got to Toronto, I think our stroller was like the last thing to get out. Brody was waiting there for the longest time, but coming back to LAX, our stroller was out like before business class even finished unloading. So that was quick. We just put them in there and ran out of there. It was quick and easy. So our way back was definitely easier than our way going, but either way, it was a great time. Definitely didn't cry at all. He was so entertained. He loved the takeoff and the landing. Ooh, one last thing about the takeoff and landing. If you are still nursing, I highly recommend that you nurse during takeoff and landing. During the change in altitude, your ears pop. That happens to your child as well, but they don't know how to like regulate their ears popping, and that feeling can be super uncomfortable. If they're nursing, or like that motion of like sucking, I guess, helps to pop their ears, it makes it more comfortable for them. The first time we flew with Declan when he was 6 months old, I nursed during takeoff and landing, and he was like so calm. He didn't really even notice the difference, and like he passed out right away. This time I didn't do that because he didn't care to do that. He was fine just watching the takeoff and landing. So again, depends on the age of your kid. Last but not least is to stay calm, okay? Flying with kids can be so hectic, and you might think everyone's staring at you and things are going crazy, but the calmer you stay, the calmer the situation will stay. Being in the airport is crazy already, especially now, so you don't want to add stress to that. And usually when other people see you with kids, they're a little bit more compassionate, especially if they have kids themselves. So just know it's not you against the world. There are people there willing to help. I made the mistake of putting Declan in sandals, like the Velcro sandals. Anyway, he started to take them off as we were strolling down to our gate. He threw them off. I didn't even know. Someone came behind us and brought us his shoe. It was so nice of them. Like, there's people willing to help. Even before we had kids, if I saw a family or a mom traveling alone and she had kids, I would always try to help, either with a stroller or like putting their bags in the overhead. Like, it takes a village. So if you see other parents struggling, just try to help out. Don't make it worse by like mumbling things under your breath. And on the flip side, if you're a parent, honestly, it's just getting to your destination safe and sound is the most important thing. So don't worry about everything, all the other chaos going on. Just stay calm and everything will turn out how it's supposed to turn out. So on that note, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys sticking with me through the growth of this channel. I promise to be more consistent with the first and third Monday uploads of the month, and then of course you'll still get my vlogs and reviews and other stuff in between, so you can always catch up with me on Instagram and TikTok, links down below. And of course, if you have other tips and tricks, please leave them down in the comments below so we can all read and discuss. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on another Mom Chat Mondays. Bye.